He was supposed to be the next Elvis of rap. White, furious, with killer lyrics and brutal talent. The industry welcomed him with open arms, celebrating him as a prodigy destined to break the rules. He had the sharpness, the pain, the rage, and above all, the backing of a living legend named Dr. Dre. But now he lives reclusive, in silence, disconnected from the world he once dominated. He went from selling millions to fighting his own demons in front of the mirror. From filling stadiums with thousands of fans to locking himself away in a studio, unsure if the words he was still writing meant anything to anyone anymore. This is not just the story of a rapper. It's the story of a man who had everything and almost lost it all. Marshall Bruce Mathers III was born in Detroit, a place where dreams die fast and violence breathes through every alley. He grew up surrounded by poverty, abuse, and rejection. His father walked out on him. His mother gave him no love. His world was cold, cruel, and small. The only place he found refuge was in the blank pages of a notebook. His only weapon? A pencil. By the age of 13, he had the sharpest tongue of anyone on his block, adult or not. He devoured words like ammunition and loaded them into verses like bullets. In Detroit's underground rap battles, he was the white kid nobody took seriously. Until he opened his mouth. When he spit his first verse, the room would fall completely silent. His flow was unnaturally fast, his memory astonishing, and his rage painfully real. He didn't just rhyme, he attacked. That's how Slim Shady was born. Not as a nickname, but as a necessary disguise. A violent, sarcastic, unfiltered version of himself. A mask he wore to survive. He spent years living in a trailer park, washing dishes for a few dollars an hour, trying to feed his daughter and keep the lights on while chasing the impossible dream of a record deal. When he released his first independent album, Infinite, no one listened. Those who did said he was a cheap knockoff. They called him a fraud, a joke. And in the silence of his bathroom, with disappointment pressing down on his chest, he thought about ending it all. But he didn't. Instead, he created the Slim Shady EP, a grenade of hate, dark humor, and unapologetic revenge. That demo landed in the hands of Dr. Dre and everything changed. Dre didn't just see talent. He saw a weapon, and he knew exactly how to use it. In 1999, the world heard, for the first time, a lunatic white boy rapping about drugs, murdering his girlfriend, hating his mother and mocking pop stars. But no one could look away. Eminem wasn't just good, he was terrifyingly brilliant. The Slim Shady LP won a Grammy. The Marshall Mathers LP sold over 1 million copies in its first week. His voice echoed the rage and despair of an entire generation that felt broken, betrayed, and left behind. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a symbol. And at the same time, a train with no brakes hurtling toward the abyss. He mocked NSYNC live at the VMAs, insulted his own mother on national television, dressed up as Robin in his videos, and performed with a chainsaw in his hands. He said he was better than Tupac, and then admitted he wanted to die. People loved him. People hated him. But everyone listened. Once he said, "I didn't come here to be like Dre. I came to be better than Dre." And that was the beginning of his downfall. Because unlike Dre, who built an empire on discipline and business, Eminem started to believe that being a genius was enough. He stopped sleeping, became addicted to pills, started canceling tours, missing interviews, cutting ties with everyone, except his demons. The world saw Eminem rise, but what it refused to see was that Marshall was breaking. With fame came fortune, and with fortune, chaos. In 2002, after releasing 8 Mile, and winning an Oscar, Eminem was on top of the world. He lived in a mansion, cruised through Detroit in limousines, flew in private jets, owned a collection of cars, and had a room just for his sneakers. But every night, he swallowed more Valium, more Ambien, more Vicodin. He slept barely 3 hours. He binged food, then vomited, then took more pills. The cycle never stopped. Behind the scenes, his daughter Haley barely saw him. His ex-wife Kim attempted suicide. His mother sued him for defamation. His best friend Proof was the only one who understood the chaos, and the only one who knew how close Eminem really was to self-destruction. The myth of Eminem was growing, but the man was disappearing. In 2004, he released Encore, an album full of empty lyrics, dull jokes, and a tired voice. His fans defended him. The critics did not. He later admitted that much of the album had been recorded while he was completely high. But the worst was yet to come. In 2006, his best friend Proof was shot and killed outside a club. That shattered Eminem. He stopped recording. He vanished. He locked himself in his house, gained 20 kilos, kept drinking, became addicted to alcohol. That same year, he overdosed. He almost died. He was seconds away from respiratory failure. That was his Maidana, his first great collapse. The punch no one saw coming. The one that didn't just knock him down, it left him on the edge of the grave. The world didn't laugh, but it didn't cry either. Some said it was the end. Others had already buried him. Eminem, the kid from Detroit who mocked the world, could no longer write. He couldn't even get out of bed. After the overdose, Eminem didn't go out giving interviews. He didn't release songs. He didn't post inspirational photos with life quotes. He simply disappeared. For more than a year, he ceased to exist in the eyes of the world, but he was still breathing. And slowly, he decided to come back. Not for the music, not for the fame, but for his daughter. For that little girl who used to watch from the stands while her father screamed into a microphone, fighting ghosts no one else could see. In 2009, he released Relapse, a dark album filled with voices, accents, and psychological horror. It felt like a recorded nightmare. It was Eminem trying to exorcise all his demons in one record. The public was divided. Some called it brilliant, others incomprehensible. He later admitted he still wasn't fully clean. But in 2010, the impossible happened. Recovery. And with it, a resurrection. The album was raw, honest, stripped of any mask. Marshall spoke openly about his addiction, his loneliness, his mistakes, and the fear of being forgotten. With songs like Not Afraid and Love the Way You Lie, he climbed back to the top. He won awards, sold millions, filled stadiums again. But he wasn't the same. And he knew it. Eminem stopped giving interviews. He stopped going out. He became a media ghost. Photos of him became rare. His concerts, sporadic. His life, a mystery. And when he returned with the Marshall Mathers LP2, he tried to reconnect with that original rage. But something was broken. The fire was still there, but it wasn't the same fire. In 2017, he released Revival, an album that was brutally criticized. They called it outdated, boring, lost. The same man who used to ridicule everyone was now the one being mocked. The media pointed to his tired voice, his lack of rhythm, and the idea that he no longer had a place in a world of young rappers, tattooed faces, and TikToks. The blow was hard, but this time he hit back. In 2018, he released Kamikaze, a surprise album in which he dismantled every critic one by one. He named them, he mocked them. He did it with the sharp tongue that once made him a legend. And while many applauded, Others realized that Eminem was no longer the furious kid from Detroit, but an adult obsessed with reclaiming respect. And that's the most tragic part. Marshall had already achieved everything. 15 Grammys, an Oscar, dozens of platinum records, and yet he was still chasing validation. In the few interviews he's given, he's said it clearly. I never felt like I was enough. Not with millions, not with fans, not with sold-out shows. And that's what broke him. While other rappers celebrated fame, Eminem hated it. He didn't go out, he didn't party, he didn't chase clout. He had anxiety, insomnia, an obsession with lyrics. He lived like a prisoner inside his own mansion. The world believed Eminem was invincible, but the truth is, he was never strong. He just screamed louder than everyone else. At 51 years old, Eminem is a father of 3, but little is known about his relationship with them. Haley, the only one who has consistently remained by his side, is his emotional anchor. He mentions her in interviews. He defends her in his songs. But he's also said he feels like he failed her. He once wrote, "I try to be a good father, but sometimes I'm still a mess." For years, Eminem was a father figure to kids who had no voice, angry teens, misfits, victims of bullying and abuse. But while he inspired them, he was breaking in silence. He stopped touring. He stopped attending events. He began to live in an increasingly closed-off world. In 2020, during lockdown, leaked audios surfaced of Eminem practicing songs that were never released. They sounded good, but also sad, as if he was rapping just for himself. His last tour was short. His last album, forgettable. His life is now on pause. He's not fallen, but he's not present either. And that's even more painful, because Eminem wasn't just another rapper. He was the only one to do what he did. He changed the industry. He broke down barriers. He exposed his wounds without shame. But he also showed us the cost of doing so. Today, there's no news of a new album, no interviews scheduled, no massive tours. Just a man who continues writing in silence, wondering if he still matters. He once said, "I don't even know who I am anymore." And that line, as sad as it is, may be the most honest thing he's ever written. Eminem, the white prodigy of rap, the lyrical monster, the absent father, the lonely millionaire, the survivor, is still breathing. But he no longer fights others. Now, he only fights himself. Will he ever be able to defeat that final enemy? Or will his legacy be that of a genius who saved himself? Too late.